Your mind is you kind of become what you believe. So,
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
repeating some of those empowering words or empowering sayings, it does a lot more for you than you really think. Your mind is a very powerful thing. So yeah, honing that craft is definitely something that I would advise people to do that are trying to kind of gain some courage in the water for sure.
You are listening to the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast with your host, Eric Logan. No Gimmicks, Just Sweat is dedicated to hearing the journeys and unique stories behind an athlete's training and what drives them. Get inspired to own your life and make the impossible possible. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, please take a few seconds to rate the show and drop me a review. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello and welcome to this episode of No Gimmicks, Just Sweat. And today we welcome Leah DeKalb to the show. Leah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Eric?
I am good. Good. Yeah, thank you for coming on to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
You're very excited.
I am.
I
I'm
can
very
hear
excited.
it. I can hear it in
Yes.
your voice.
The enthusiasm is there for
Yes,
sure.
it's bubbling over.
It is. It
And
is just, yeah.
it's coming through the speakers right now.
Hopefully so. I hope to portray that. Yeah.
All right. As with every show, we kind of start off with a couple of icebreaker questions to kind of get you warmed up and ready to go.
Great.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Morning training or evening training?
I'm going to go with morning training. Every once in a while, I get the occasional one-offs, but morning is definitely kind of my prime time.
Okay. Cardio or strength?
Cardio for sure. It's definitely sometimes a little bit of a struggle to get me in to do the strength, but my coach has been helping me with some consistency and making sure I'm getting that in a couple times a week. But if I had to pick any day of the week, I would go cardio.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, definitely coffee. I'm like a 2 cups at least every morning kind of gal. Gotta have it.
All right. Run on a treadmill or run outside?
I'm gonna say run outside. Although the treadmill saved me this summer during the Texas heat, there were just some days I could not get outside. It was just so hot. But if it's like okay weather, definitely heading outside.
Okay. Okay. All right. Open water swimming or swimming in the pool?
I'm probably gonna say swimming in the pool. Uh, Open water I still get a little bit of nerves around that, but slowly kind of tackling some of those nerves with more experience. But pool would probably be the preference.
Okay. All right. Ride inside with or without Zwift?
Hmm. It's actually a funny question because I would say I prefer Zwift. However, my internet sometimes is not the best, and it doesn't work well. And I call it the pain cave. And sometimes it drops out mid-ride, and it's just crushing at that point. But if I had a choice, would say Swift.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite segment in a triathlon? The swim, bike, or run?
Oh man. You know, I call running my gateway sport into triathlon. That's kind of where I started. But right now, I would say I'm loving the bike. I just got a new bike, so that's like my new thing is just trying to get stronger and faster on the bike. So I've been liking that challenge for sure.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite race distance? Sprint, Olympic, or long course?
Ooh. Um, I would say right now probably Olympic. I like
Okay.
I like the challenge of it, but I have yet to do my first 70.3. I'm doing that in 12 days. So that
Woohoo.
could be the new favorite. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. So we'll have to touch back base soon, and
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
that'd be up on a follow up.
That'll be the follow-up. Okay. Okay. I'll catch you there. Yeah.
All right. What's the first thing you do after a race?
Ooh. Uh, Probably simultaneously looking for snacks and my husband.
Okay. What's
Like,
your? I was gonna say, what's your go-to snack after a race then?
um, probably something kind of salty, like, I don't know. It's usually I'm just like, where's the snack tent? You will find me there. That's what I'm usually looking for. So whatever's in the snack tent, I am down.
You're like
But
food,
yes,
food.
yeah. Some people call me the snack queen because I'm all about the snacks. I'm like, snacks are like always on my person at all times. So
The snack queen. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
All right. What is your dream race to participate in? And
Ooh,
it doesn't have necessarily be a triathlon. It could be anything.
okay. Ooh. Let's see. Hmm. I would say a dream of mine would be to qualify for 70.3 Worlds, but I know that location kind of shuffles around now. I know it was recently in St. George, and that just seems like such an iconic place to race. So even probably just going to St. George and racing in that location, that would be pretty cool in my book for sure.
Okay. All right. If you can go on a run, a bike ride, or train with any celebrity or athlete, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I would probably say, uh, I would say probably Chrissy Wellington.
Okay.
I recently read her book. Actually, I listened. It was an audio book, A Life Without Limits. And she just seems like an all around just genuine person that is just like a wealth of information for all things triathlon. So that would be like my celebrity athlete. But if you could tell me to pick a celebrity like non-athlete, I'd probably say like Steve Carell. I'm just a huge fan of The Office. I love Michael Scott. Actually, if I could just go for a run with Michael Scott, that would be so cool. I would have so much fun.
I just can't picture him running. Not a long distance though.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. There was one episode I think he tried to do a 5K, and I don't know if that went over very well.
All right, last question. All right, dream location anywhere in the world, to go for a run or a bike ride.
Dream location anywhere. Um, hmm. I would probably say somewhere in New Zealand.
Okay.
The exact location to be determined, but I did do. My husband and I went to New Zealand for a honeymoon. I can't say I did a whole lot of anything like exercise during the honeymoon, but definitely saw some just epic spots that seemed like they would just be awesome to go out and just go for a run at.
Nice, nice, nice. All right. So, Leah, inquiring minds want to know, how did you get to be the triathlete that you are today? I always
Yeah.
tell people, use this as like, think of it as you're telling your origin story. You are a superhero telling your origin story. How did you get to where you are today?
Okay, the origin story to triathlon. So I've always just growing up, I've been always very active. Just had my hands in any sport you could probably think of, pretty much everything but swimming and cycling, which are two key sports in triathlon. But just, being an active person is just kind of a part of who I am. And in my youth, I would say I spent a lot of time. I got really into horseback riding,
Oh,
and
okay.
just, yeah, that sport alone, just spending time with that, I would say it taught me how to be a competitor and just how to kind of hone my craft, and be just very mindful about my body and body awareness, and sticking with it when it gets hard. And also ran track in high school. because I learned that I just like to go fast. That's just something that's fun for me. But stuck with running after high school, and it always just kind of ran as like an outlet for mental health and just overall health. Makes me feel good, and ran my first half marathon in 2014, I believe, and then my first full marathon in 2015. And at that point, I started to move around a little bit with my husband. We've moved around quite a bit, and I had started watching him compete in a few triathlons. And I would go and watch and I would say, man, this looks like so much fun, but that just scares the daylights out of me. Like, I don't think I could do that. I don't know if I have the guts. Like, get out there in the open water and just, get out of the water, get on your bike and then run and don't stop, you know. That's just seemed like something that was like so far away from achievable at that point. And then he ended up giving me a road bike for my birthday. I want to say it was about 2015. So kind of started to learn the ropes on that, gain some confidence on the bike. And then I said, hey, I want to try this triathlon thing. And, but there was just one problem. I couldn't really swim. So he got me in the pool. And on our very first lesson, I could not make it one length of the pool. Like that's sometimes I just think about that day, like I remember it so clearly, and then just knowing like how far I've come since then. But my husband was really kind of the person that encouraged me and taught me all of the ins and outs of triathlon. So I ended up doing my first sprint triathlon in 2018. I remember getting out of the water and just thinking, wow, that was completely awful. I'm not really sure if I want to do that again. But finished the race, and a lot of athletes will say, hey, it might have been a little uncomfortable during the race, but let's do that again. Let's try it again. So
Mhm.
ended up doing a few more kind of local sprints, and then I qualified for age group nationals. Let's see, last year and then this year. So I did my first Olympic distance last year at age group Nats. I had never done an Olympic distance before that. I'm not sure if that was like the best plan to jump right in, kind of on a national stage to do my first one, but I had a great time. And the reason why I had a great time was because it was something that I was completely scared of, didn't think I could do, and then I finished it. So, just that feeling of overcoming that fear, I think has been kind of a driving force for me in triathlon to just want to say, hey, what else can I do?
Mhm.
What are these limitations that I've constructed in my head that I think I can't do, and let's see if we can push those over and push it a little bit further and go a little bit further. So um, ran nationals again this year, had a nice PR on the course, was very proud of that, and started working with the coach this year who has been definitely a huge help in just helping me be a little bit more mindful in terms of what I'm doing with my training and a little bit more structured. And he's helping me get to my first 70.3 in less than 2 weeks. So here we go. And that's not going to be the end either. The journey is still unfolding for sure.
That's right. The journey
Yeah,
continues.
that's right. It continues.
All right. So, what does a week of training look like for you? I know you just mentioned that you have a coach that's
Yeah,
working with you, but what was it like before you got the
sure.
coach, and how the coach has helped you progress and improve?
Yeah. Okay. Well, before the coach, I was using a lot of just, I would say, like free resources, either online or in books, and doing what I thought I should do just to kind of get through the race, which was usually kind of the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And just did enough to, I was always looking at, okay, well, how can I put together a plan that will just help me finish? I just want to finish. And, working with a coach has been really pivotal in terms of, well, there's a lot more structure, but there's also someone else that's, watching your metrics and saying, hey, there is a lot more potential to what you can do. And having someone just to reassure you, to say that there is more and I can help you get there, that's just been probably one of the biggest perks of having a coach in my mind, is having someone there to help kind of push me a little bit further. But training is definitely, a week of training looks very different now. I would say probably before I was doing maybe 3 times a week. I would get my long rides in over the weekend and then some runs and swims during the week. But now I'm pretty much training all the time, it seems like. I would average probably like 15 to 20 hours a week. So I swim 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I bike on Tuesday, Thursdays, Saturdays, and I run, Wednesdays and Sundays, and some short runs off the bike during the week. So he's got me going in full force, but I've found my rhythm. Sometimes I give a little pushback. There's still that part of me that's like, this seems like way too much. I'm not sure about this. So, working with the coach, it's definitely, you have to learn to take that step back and say, okay, like, I trust you. We got to build up mutual trust and respect, and, just trust and lean into their expertise to help get you where you want to go. So.
Okay. So let's kind of step back a little bit. And,
sure.
You mentioned that you were not a great swimmer and that your husband had
No.
to help you with that.
Yeah.
And as you know, swimming is that barrier for a lot of people.
Definitely.
With, triathlon.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they can always go to the duathlon side. I'm just speaking for that, because, I'm a duathlete and, I love that side of the sport. But, that can kind of, not just knowing how to swim, that really puts off a lot of people. So
yes,
how did that overcome, and I don't want to say fear, unless it was a genuine fear of you swimming, versus, I'm not scared to get in the water. I just don't know how to swim. So how did you overcome that to kind of be proficient enough to regularly compete in triathlons?
Yeah, the swim was definitely the kind of the stick in the mud that was holding me back at first. So I would say what helped me was, well, just having a support system. My husband was there to, encourage me and help me with some of the basics, but just consistency. And then learning how to kind of control your mind and emotions in the water. That has been something that's helped me, and that's still something I'm working on. I did have a little bit of a panic moment this year at nationals, but I've come a long way. So what's helped me just in the water with that mindfulness is just repeating mantras.
Okay.
And just completely trying to distract my brain in any way I can to not think about the parts that I'm scared about. So sometimes it is just like tricking yourself into thinking that everything is okay. And then you slowly get, build that confidence. So mantras, sometimes I count down or count up to 100 and I'm just kind of repeating some of those things in my head till I get to a point where I'm, easy breathing and I'm going through the course and making it happen. So.
Okay. And I think a lot of times people don't really grasp the mental aspect of endurance sports.
Yeah.
That you sometimes you have to, talk yourself through things. You have to say those mantras to yourself to keep going. You're going from one discipline to another discipline to another discipline, and you're trying to finish and compete at your very best. Not just to come in first place overall and win everything, but to complete, but come in your own first place. As they say,
Yes.
Race your own race. And so I know even with me sometimes, I'll end up, cussing my own self out.
Yeah. I believe it. I've had those days.
Yeah.
For
Just to keep
sure.
going.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's your mind it's you kind of become what you believe. So,
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
repeating some of those empowering words or empowering sayings, it does a lot more for you than you really think. Your mind is a very powerful thing. So yeah, honing that craft is definitely something that I would advise people to do that are trying to kind of gain some courage in the water for sure.
Okay. What's a good saying that you use that that you might repeat very often or regularly during a race that just keeps you going?
Okay, well, I hope we don't have to bleep out any words,
No,
but
no. Hey, go ahead and say.
so my like core mantra is just three words. It's I am badass, I am fierce, and I am brave.
Okay.
And then sometimes I will build upon that depending on like what I'm feeling. So sometimes I'll add on some words. I'll think of how many words can I think of that describe myself that are going to empower me to finish this swim. So sometimes it's like I am smart or I am funny and I am a champion. It's really just kind of it becomes a little game to try to think of some more things, but my core mantra is always badass, fierce, brave, and then sometimes I build off of that.
Okay. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, now that you have a coach and someone is working with you, is he also working with you on how you fuel yourself, before the race, the week of the race, before the race, during the race?
Yeah, we talk a little bit about nutrition, and really just making sure that I'm practicing my nutrition, during those long training endeavors so that I've got it locked and loaded for race day. He doesn't necessarily give me like specific, hey, I'd like you to take in XYZ amount of carbs, sodium, electrolytes. It's more of just, hey, let's just make sure we're being mindful of your plan and that we can replicate that on race day and then just kind of build off of it in the years to come. So we do talk about it. It's definitely something that I am still working on, but what has helped me this year is becoming an Elite member of the Elite feed team. So the website called the Feed, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically all
Yes.
things fuel.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of just different like single serve flavor. So if you like want to try a brand that you're not really sure about or a flavor, you can just like order one. And it's great because sometimes you might not normally just go and buy that on your own if you're unsure of what the flavor is going to be like. So I've done a lot of just experimenting with different brands, different flavors this year, just as a member of that Elite athlete team. And that has definitely helped me find some great brands that I'm planning on using for my 70.3. So
Okay. So what's your go-to right now?
yeah, so drink mix in terms of electrolytes, also some carbs. I like Tailwind.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I've always been a tropical buzz flavor kind of gal, but recently I've switched over to Coca-Cola, and I think it's like the best thing. And so it's like, ooh, I can't wait to do my long ride so I can try out my tailwind. But that and I've been enjoying. I don't. When I first started off running, I was about the gels, so like around 2014, 15. I liked the goos, the gels, and then all of a sudden I kind of got turned off on them. So I was basically trying anything but that. And then this year I kind of came back around and started trying some of I think you call it Martin. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name,
Yeah, I
but
think so. Yeah.
yeah, you've heard of it. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So those gels, they actually sit pretty well with me because they're not, it's not like too much of a powerful flavor, and it's not like really just a sticky mess that's going to get all over you. It's kind of a cool consistency. It's like just right for me.
Okay.
So some of those gels, Tailwind, and I'm sure in my transition bag, Eric, I'm going to have so many different snacks. I'm just gonna be way over prepared. But hey, I'd rather overfuel than under. So.
Yeah, but you're the snack queen, right?
I am the snack queen. I need to get that on my Varlo kit for next year.
The snack queen. The snack
Yeah.
queen cometh.
Yes.
All right. So as an athlete, finding balance is something that, we all struggle with. How do you manage to stay balanced and calm?
Ooh, stay balanced and calm, man, because there are sure those days where we need that balance and calm. Well, two ways. I would say I'm an avid walker, so I have a
Okay.
dog that is very active. And he's very dialed in on his routine. So if you don't give him his morning walkies and his PM walkies, like the day is just not right. So that actually is like a great way for me to just unwind in the mornings and in the evenings, is just going for walks with him. And then I would also say yoga. I haven't been doing it as much now that I'm in kind of the thick of my training, but I plan on doing a little bit more of it in the off season. I get a few weeks off after this race, and I'm just probably gonna go unwind and relax in the yoga studio and build a little bit of mind body awareness with that. So yoga, walking, that definitely helps me.
Okay. All right. So what is your inspiration? What are, some of the things that keep you going daily, or, who is it that inspires you?
Yes. And, when you start to pick up your training, there are definitely those moments where you're saying, why am I doing this again?
Right.
And you definitely need to have that strong why, because those days, they get long and they get tough. And even the races, I know there's going to be that point in the race where I'm going to say, hey, what's my why? Why am I here? And I would say for me, what just the thought that really keeps me going is, I'm here to push past my limits and achieve things that I once thought of as completely impossible. Like there was a time where I didn't even think that I could complete a sprint distance. And I've slowly kind of built my way up to this half Ironman distance, and hopefully further in the future. But it's just about pushing my limits and what I think I can do, and just kind of proving myself wrong. Because we can, sometimes we build those mental constructs, and it's hard to overcome those and overcome that genuine fear. So that's really kind of what gets me going. And also just the thought of, hey, if I'm feeling those feelings, I know that there are other athletes that probably feel the same way. And I hope that I can be, somewhat of an inspiration or a resource to encourage other athletes that might be afraid or might think that they can't do it. Let's prove ourselves wrong and get out there and give it a try. So that's just the idea, I would say, that inspires me. When I think of people that inspire me, I would say just all of Team Varlo. So joined up as an ambassador with Team Varlo this year, and just everyone on the team has been totally amazing, and met some just great, genuine people. So that team as a whole, is they inspire me, I would say, every day for sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The Varlo people are very good people.
They are
helpful,
it's like,
friendly.
How do we all find each other? Like, where have we all been this whole time?
See, Yeah, exactly. All right. You mentioned that you got a new bike. So what type of bike are you riding?
Okay. Gosh, I just got a Quintana Roo. It's a PR5 105. And I have been riding my Specialized road bike since I think I said it was 2015, 2016. I have been going strong on her since then, and I just switched over to my new Quintana Roo That was mid-July. I got her right before nationals, and man, I am just having a fun time on that bike. That is just something else.
Just neglecting the old bike. The old bike is just
I
sitting there
I
feeling
am. You know,
sad.
I told her, I said, "Don't worry. I'm still going to get in some trainer rides on you. Don't worry. I'm going to take you off the shelf." And I have not ridden her. I call her, but I have not ridden that bike since I got my Quintana Roo. But I've been trying to get in as many miles as I can just to get my confidence and handling up on that bike for Waco coming up in a couple weeks here.
Hmm.
So, you know, I've had a good reason to ride the new bike. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, what's your go-to running shoe?
Go-to running shoe. Okay, I've always been an Asics kind of gal. But I'm not opposed to trying out some new brands. I feel like I always go in and have you been to the running stores and you go and you do the little test to figure out what kind of shoes you need.
Hmm.
And it usually comes back with the same one. And sometimes I want to say, well, why can't I try those other shoes? But you know, Asics have done the job. So that's kind of been my shoe for a while. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. This here. All right. So, what is your proudest moment as an athlete? And then the second part of that question is, what is your worst moment or your biggest mistake you've made as an athlete?
Ah, tricky. Okay. Um, Proudest moment, I would say, I feel just a really pivotal point for me was having the guts to sign up for age group nationals, not this year, but last year to do the Olympic distance.
Hmm.
I mentioned I was definitely genuinely afraid of that distance. And just ever since then, it's kind of just been this confidence that, hey, we're going to sign up for all these races and we're going to put in the time and the effort and we're going to make it happen. So that's definitely one of my proudest moments is just getting out of my comfort zone to sign up for that race and then finishing. And then on the flip side, I would say pro- probably just not starting triathlon sooner,
Okay.
because I didn't think I was capable. And I regret that looking back. You know, and so it was really. I remember there were a couple years there. There was a triathlon club at my gym, and my husband was a member of it. And I remember going up and putting my name on the list so that I could join the club and get some information. It was like a new member sign up or something. And I was in the gym for like 20 minutes and I went back and I scratched my name off because I didn't want to embarrass myself because I couldn't swim and I didn't want to do that in front of all these people. So it's really just, sometimes triathlon is about being a little bit vulnerable with
Yes.
your insecurities and the things that you might not be totally comfortable with. And I wish I could go back and tell myself, just keep your name on the list. You can do it. Like, let's not regret this moment. But that would be probably the moment that I regret as an athlete is not having the courage to try it sooner.
Okay. Well, and that kind of transitions to this next question here. What advice would you give someone who might be interested in triathlon or interested in just maybe running or cycling? And at the same time, somebody who might be, we have busy lives, we get older, we
Hmm.
get family, and they might be saying, yeah, it's just too late for me to do that. So, what advice would you give that person?
I would say it's never too late to start. That sounds, easier said than done.
Right.
Um, but sometimes we become prisoners of these preconceived thoughts that we are too old, or we're not strong enough, or we're not fast enough. Well, to heck with all that. You know, let's just get out there and try it. I would definitely encourage anyone who's on the fence and just thinking about it, because I was that person, and I feel that to my bone. Don't be afraid to at least give it a try. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Maybe you don't finish a race, but guess what? You towed up to the start line. That's a huge achievement
Yes.
in itself. So there's always small wins that you can find in every scenario, whether it's a good or a bad race. And I would just say, hey, don't be afraid. It's never too late to try, and don't be your biggest limitation.
Okay, that's good advice. Great advice.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is a non-athletic fact about you that most people don't know?
Ooh. Okay, can I give you two?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give you like a regular one and then a quirky one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so my regular one is that I have lived since 2015. I have lived in 4 different states, soon to be 5.
Oh, okay.
I have moved all over with my husband. And then my quirky one is in 2021. So I listened to all my music on Spotify, and at the end of the year they give you like a recap of everything you listened to and your favorite songs and your favorite artists. Well, I've been working on my master's the past couple years, and I was taking a business analytics stats class last year, and every time I had to work on a project, I turned on Phil Collins. And it turns out I listened to Phil Collins so much while I was working on my grad school stuff that I was in the top 1% of listeners in 2021. And I wouldn't even say, like, I like Phil Collins. I love him, but he's definitely not, like, if someone said, hey, like, who's your, tell me your top 3 favorite artists. I don't know if he would be there. He would definitely be maybe top 10. But it was just, I feel like that's just an interesting fact that I'm sort of proud of. Top 1% of listeners, like, you got to listen to a lot of Phil Collins to get on that.
Yeah,
You know?
to a lot of Phil Collins.
Yeah. And, sometimes I listen to him on the bike. Sometimes he pumps me up. So Phil comes through when you need him, for sure.
All right, so what's next for you? You know you're getting ready for your race in a couple of weeks. So is there anything else after that?
Okay, so 70.3 Waco, October 16th. After that, I am eyeing possible 70.3 in May.
Okay.
They just announced 70.3 Morro Bay in California. That's at the end of May, I believe. And that's actually right where I went to then did my undergrad. I did my undergrad at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California.
Okay.
And that Morro Bay is about 30 minutes from there. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of has like a little hometown vibe to it. So that's definitely on my radar. And then I've got age group nationals on kind of my radar again for this coming year. Just continuing to try to be a little bit more competitive in my age group, and just pushing past what I've done in the past, and becoming a stronger version of me. And a full Ironman, I will let you know after I do 70.3 if that's something I want to do or not. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna happen. Knowing me, it's gonna be in the works, but I haven't necessarily committed to a time or a place. But we'll see.
Okay,
I'll leave
we'll
it at
see.
that. Yeah.
To be continued.
To be continued. Yes, part 2 to this conversation coming. Yeah.
All right. You got any last words you'd like to share with the listeners?
Oh, last words. I would say I have really enjoyed this past year meeting a lot of different athletes on Instagram, including yourself.
Oh, thank you.
And I would say, hey, if you are on social media, give me a holler. My username is Limitless with Leah. So I've learned a lot from some peers that I've met through Instagram and built some really great relationships. It's kind of an unsuspecting place, but I would say, hey, let's connect and let's support each other as we kind of travel this triathlon journey together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Leah, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, Eric. I had so much fun.
Yes, likewise. And
I'm looking forward to part 2.
Yes,
Can't wait.
We'll be a part
let's
2.
put it on the calendar.
All
right. Okay.
All right. Well, again, thank you and have a good one now.
Okay. You too, Eric. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast. We really appreciate everyone who tunes in each week. If you enjoyed today's show, please support us by subscribing, rating, and reviewing this show wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember to tell your friends about the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast, so we can continue to have awesome conversations with everyday athletes just like you. Until next time, have an amazing week.